Let's talk about Carmela Soprano. This isn't my first Carmela Soprano video, and I'm sure it won't be my last.
Number 7 is sacred. Remain.
So what about this video? Well, it's kind of a little bit of everything. You talked to him about your father, right?
But your mother is the one.
But your mother is the one. As we see, it's not quite so simple.
Our existence on this earth is a puzzle.
And quite an interesting puzzle when it comes to The Sopranos.
I gave you 5. Now, maybe I could go another 5.
2. Maybe I can do 3.
Boss or not, sometimes the women in that family, they act like the real gangsters. And they don't even need to use guns or fists. Never underestimate the power of a woman with her daughter's high school transcript, teacher comments, and a ricotta pie with pineapples. Or maybe not. All we know is Meadow got waitlisted for what that's worth.
She really did not have much involvement in the finances at the home.
40 grand from the bird feeder, my own wife. This is soon after 9/11, so the sentiment of the country as a whole is one of insecurity. So it really just heightened Carmela's insecurity and lack of trust in terms of what will become of her and her kids if something happens to Tony. In her mind, it's increasingly not about if, but about when.
If your enemy comes into possession of your nail or your hair clippings, they can make the evil on you.
But as we know, the line between good and the evil isn't always so clear. And what if your enemy comes from within? Carmela asks, what does she have that I don't have? I honestly think that the answer here is that Carmela simply isn't multiple women. Tony's always on the hunt, chasing it, whether that's money, power, or things that tend to come with it, like sex and women. So in this case, Carmela or no Carmela, I think Tony would probably be doing the same thing.
Hey, I'm having a fucking time. Stay out late, come home drunk, fuck anyone I want. Yeah, so what's the difference?
I know I've mentioned this in other videos, but I feel like when Tony tells her that Meadow's becoming a wonderful woman, smart, beautiful, independent woman that she created, and isn't that what she always dreamed of? Carmela says yes, but I think she means yes about herself too.
She can do whatever she wants. Isn't that what you dreamed about?
Yes. The real reason I stopped by to see you, though, was to make sure you're recovered from this Noah thing. I'm worried it'll affect
I
your
think
grades.
the kinder thing to say would be, I wanted to see how you're feeling, see how you're doing. Because when she says, I'm worried it'll affect your grades, it's like she cares less about how Meadow feels, how Meadow's doing on a personal level, and more worried about the effects that'll have on the external representation of how she's doing, of the Soprano family as a whole.
You call losing a wonderful man because of Dad a thing?
Though Carm also gives Meadow a reality check. Tony and Noah have their little one-to-one in season 3, episode 2, and it isn't till season 3, episode 6 that Noah breaks up with Meadow. And that's after they have sex and after Meadow meets Noah's father.
I feel like my life is slipping through my fingers, and I will never be happy.
Now let's think of the 5 stages of grief. And just to be clear here, when I say the 5 stages of grief, I'm not talking about necessarily someone's death. I think that we can apply these 5 stages to lots of things that we go through, whether it's a loss of someone or something, to just feeling like something's changed, that we don't have something that we thought we'd have, or that, for example, the life we always dreamed of, the life we dreamed of wanting, isn't coming to reality. Maybe Carmela feels this way. An example of denial for Carmela is when she tells Meadow to stop talking about boogeymen with Italian names after Jackie Jr.'s killed.
You go around looking for boogeymen to blame, boogeymen with Italian names. So whatever you're thinking, you just stop thinking it right now, because that is not what happened.
Anger is when she lashes out at Tony.
The fuck was that for?
I'll write you up a list.
Now for the bargaining aspect, a couple of examples I see are her getting this $50,000 from Tony to give to the Dean of Columbia for quote-unquote Meadows' protection, making the deal for Tony to put down the $600,000 for the spec house.
Well, I'll call Ginsburg and have him free up a down payment.
And then?
I'll move back in.
Carmela still loves the house at 633 Stag Trail Road, but she also has a new fling on the horizon, which we can see in an interesting and very literal image of Carmela getting into bed with the spec house blueprint, not to be confused with the Sopranos blueprint. Depression, when we see her lying on the couch, for example, or sitting in her bathroom looking particularly alone, and other similar occasions. What does acceptance look like here?
Open the door for Mr. Muckle.
Accentuate the positive.
Your friends, your kids, all love you.
But she separates herself there. She doesn't say, we love you, we all care about you, we know you care about us. And she even brings us up with Dr. Melfi. Does Carmela love him in spite of who he is, or because of it? And then, of course, things can change as people get older. They can grow together or they can grow apart.
You think they really care? You're the boss. They're scared of you.
Carmela says, your friends all love you. But she tells Tony his friends are actually just scared of him. Why is it that we're the most cruel sometimes to the people that we love the most? And why wait until someone is dead or nearly dead, like Tony here, before saying what you really feel, before saying the kind things?
They know that you're really strong. You're strong as a bull.
Sometimes it's impossible to stay strong. And that cycle that I mentioned earlier, it can and does repeat itself. Different times, perhaps different places, perhaps different people. So let's think of a couple more examples with Carmela. Let's take Adriana's disappearance and Christopher's death. When Carmela first learned that Adriana and Christopher had broken up and that Adriana had, quote, left, she was shocked. I imagine she was in denial for at least a little bit because, I mean, what the hell?
Have you heard from Abe lately?
No. Why would I hear from her?
Would it be so surprising?
I can feel some anger brewing when she randomly asks Christopher about Adriana. Carmela doesn't try to hide her anger or suspicions, but then he says no. So what else can she really do? Now with Christopher's death, I think that there's a moment that Carmela wonders, did everything happen like Tony says it happened? And I think the reason is she knows so many times that things that Tony said out loud about what happened to someone isn't the actual story of what really happened. I mean, remember when she says to Dr. Melfi, see, he didn't say garbage compactor. Anger. When she sees Juliana Skiff at Christopher's funeral.
Good-looking woman.
And the cycle continues. In other words, it goes on and on and on and on. Or does it? At the end of the Sopranos series finale, Carmela mentions to AJ that they're going to go to Holston's tonight for dinner. They're not going to stay at home. She's got meetings with carpenters. Who else was a carpenter? Jesus, right? Perhaps this was in some way a symbolic foreshadowing of the upcoming death or deaths. Perhaps if Carmela's going to meet Jesus, the whole table's going. I don't know. Or maybe just Carmela. What if someone intends to shoot Tony at Holston's but accidentally hits Carmela? So again, this wasn't my first Carmela video, and it certainly won't be my last Carmela video. There's really so much that can be explored and analyzed when it comes to this fascinating and one of the best Sopranos characters. The Sopranos does a great job of showing us that most people are neither all good nor all bad. And I think Carmela falls into this category well. She's not perfect. Nobody is. She has her good moments, her bad moments, and the moments of in between. Just like you and me, and everyone else. That's the human condition. What do you think of Carmela Soprano? I'd love to hear from you. And thanks for watching.